Good. What's happening, you guys? We are, it's been a while since I've done a Monday Night Live Q&A, but tonight is the night. And as promised, we're going to be doing these every Monday night. So I'm going to give it a few minutes for some people to pop on, and then we're going to jump into it. We're talking all about teams tonight. So there's a lot of chatter about teams. I think there's a lot of people out there doing it right, but I think there's a lot of people out there that have it completely wrong. So we're going to dispel the myths. We're going to bring to you the truth tonight and hopefully provide you some value. So we're going to, we are going to jump in. All right, let me just make sure I got one more thing going, and we should be good to go. So thank you guys all for watching. Again, thanks for being here. And what's up, Craig? Good to hear from you, brother. Appreciate you being on here tonight. Let me get this open. Boom. All right, so let's jump into teams. Where I'm going to start out tonight is I'm going to break it into two segments tonight. I'm going to have one segment on the real estate agent's perspective on whether or not they should be on a team or if they're on a team and should stay on that team. So that'll be one segment. The other segment is going to be for the team leader or for the person who has a team. So start off with segment one. These are for real estate agents. So should you be on a real estate team? So there's a couple things for you to think about and consider. Number one is, here's what you're looking for in the decision as to whether or not you're going to join a team. And that number one thing, in my opinion, is leadership. Not leads. Leads are important, but however, they're not the most important thing anymore. So the number one thing you're going to look for is leadership. Is the person or the team leader on that team that you're about to join forces with or thinking about joining forces with, does that person have a track record? Are there people on that team that are successful because of that team leader? Are there people that you can talk to that are either on the team now or who have been on their team in the past that you can talk to? Does that leader have structure? That's the number two thing you're looking for, is structure. So does the team leader have a structure, or is it complete mayhem and chaos? Ask that team leader if you can come shadow their team for a week or sit with their team for a week and experience what it would be like before you commit to that team. You need to understand what it's like. You need to talk to people who have been on that team or who are on that team. And then moving on, another thing you're looking for is support, both from a training perspective, obviously training and coaching, and administrative. So when you're joining a team, one of the things and the value that you should be getting from that team is administrative support. So when you're out there prospecting and you're putting deals together, does that team have an administrative support staff that can help you with the paperwork? Or is the expectation that you do everything on your own? You need to find out. And then, of course, absolutely another thing that you need to consider when thinking about joining one of these teams is their lead generation strategy. So you, when you're looking at their strategy, do they have a consistent track record of providing opportunities for you, the real estate agent, joining that team? You got to be careful, because a lot of these people that say that they have a team, it's ego based, and it's not business. It's not from a business perspective. It's ego based. So you've got to be able to look through all that crap and look through all that BS to say, is this a good decision for me to be on this team? Okay, so there's some things for you to consider when it comes to being a real estate agent, whether you're new in the business or you've been in the business for a while and you're thinking about joining a team. Okay, so you've got to understand all of those things before making that commitment. Now, I'm going to switch gears. And if there's questions, make sure you guys ask. I've had a large team. I've had a small team. I've been on my own. So I understand it from a lot of different angles. And I've been on a team before, and I've been on a team. So I can see it from all different angles. Now, should you start a team or should you own a team? This is where probably the bulk of our conversation is going to be on tonight, unless you guys have a lot of questions from the agent's perspective. So let me know. So the number one challenge that people have when they start a team, and I just said it, they start teams out of ego, not necessity. So if you're going to start a team, it has to be out of necessity, not your ego. Because for the most part, teams, and I'm going to say this, I believe teams don't make sense for a lot of people. They make sense for a very, very, very small percentage of people out there that run it like a real organization. Yes, a business, but an organization. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. See if there's any questions. So for most people, starting a team makes no sense. They're not a leader. They don't run it like an organization. They're in production. So what ends up happening is they're so focused and so relying on their personal production and their personal income that they can't give that time to the agents on their team. They can't coach them. They can't train them. They can't lead them. They have no structure. They're throwing leads at them, hoping that they're going to convert without coaching them. The agents fail, end up quitting, or that team leader fires them, and that team leader says, I can't find anybody good. That's not the problem. The problem is there's no system structure and there's no business plan around creating a world and an atmosphere and a culture for a real estate agent to come into their team and succeed. But they see all these teams on social media and they think it's sexy to have a team. So they say, I'm going to start a team. So let me see. I got a question in here. Jason says, what would you look for in a brand new team? Not one that is already established, but one that has been in place less than a year. So thanks for the question, Jason. So here's what I would look for. Again, maybe so I'm going to backpedal a little bit. The first thing I'm going to look at is the leader, him or herself. And I'm going to meet with that person numerous times. I'm going to spend time with that person. Do I believe that person is a leader? Meaning this, Jason, this is going to be for you, but this is going to be for everybody watching. Is this person a leader, or do I believe this person has a team because of their ego? And here's how you know. A leader, in my opinion, is out to help other people, to serve the needs of other people, not themselves. And that's what you're looking for. An ego-based team is all about the team leader. My name's on everything. It's all about me. It's all about my recognition. It's all about my awards. And you've got to start with that, Jason. So that's number one. Number two is you want to set up time to speak with the people away from that leader to find out the behind the scenes of what it's really like on that person's team. So hopefully that new team's got a few people on the team, and you need to go and spend time with those people away from the leader to get through all the BS, okay? And then you're going to try and find some people, Jason, that have been in business with that person in the past. You want to see what type of person this is before committing on a team. Now, let me just say this too. Hopefully that helps, Jason. There's a couple other things too I'm going to talk about in just a second. I'll go off on a limb here and say too, if you're going to be in real estate full time, it's a very, very simple business strategy. So you've got to look at why you would actually want to be, or why you would want to go on a team versus going down your own path. Because all the things I'm talking about is the only reason you would actually choose the path of going on a team is because you believe at this very moment right now that you'd be better off surrounded by some of those things that I outlined than you could on your own. Maybe you don't have the know-how, the confidence, the training, the support, the funds, the skill set you need to succeed on your own. However, I would challenge you there because you can get a lot of great advice from people. You get a lot of bad advice too, but you get a lot of great advice from people, and you could be just fine on your own following a simple business strategy. So you got to be careful about that decision about going on a team versus your own. So Jason, getting back to your question, so you're looking at leadership, you're interviewing people that are on the team or have been on the team, you're asking the leader about their structure to their team. If they can't articulate it, I mean, that's going to be some red flags for you right there. So if you were to ask the question, Jason, walk me through your team's systems and structure on a weekly and a monthly basis, they should be able to clearly articulate what everything looks like on a daily basis. What does it look like on a weekly basis? What are the things that we're going to do as a team on a monthly basis to ensure the team's success so that every person in that team has a great opportunity to succeed? And then lastly, you want to understand their business model from a lead generation standpoint in great detail. So Jason, hopefully that makes sense. Give me a thumbs up if that makes sense. Okay, let me see what other questions we got. What do we got? All right, so I'm going to go back to while you guys are watching and more questions are piling in. Going back to the person who thinks they want a team. Again, you've got to, when making business decisions, you've got to make sure, you've got to ask yourself, am I making this decision from a place of profitability and business-minded or business sense? Or is this decision feeding my ego? And that's the question you got to keep telling yourself. Because you don't want to get yourself into a situation where you're taking time away from your personal production to go out and hire and spend a bunch of time with these agents that for the most part are going to take and suck a lot of life out of you. And if you don't have the right structure or the right business team atmosphere and you're not prepared for that, not only is your team going to have huge turnover and you're not going to be able to keep any good talent or bad talent, you're going to drive yourself absolutely crazy because your personal production is going to go in the toilet. Everyone's going to take everything from you, which is, and most importantly, your time, which is our most valuable asset that we've got in this real estate business. And so you've got to be careful that if you're going to start hiring people, that it's out of necessity and not out of ego. So let me give an example of what I mean by out of necessity. Here's a necessity. Let's pretend for a second you were going to focus your real estate career on listings. Let's just pretend that for a second, whether you agree with that or not. Let's just pretend for a second you were going to focus on listings. And you got to the point where your capacity, your ability to only handle what you can handle is completely filled. And at that point, you've got to make a business decision as to, okay, am I going to give up my listing business to service these buyers? In my opinion, I would say no. I would say the smart business decision, if and only if your capacity is 100% filled on the listing side, meaning you're listing 8, 9, 10, 12, 15 properties a month. If you get to that level and you've got to make a decision as to whether or not, am I going to continue listing property or work with buyers? At that point, if you make the decision, I'm going to work with listings, then I would say hire someone to handle your buyers. That's out of business necessity. That's a good example of that. However, before you actually get to hire an agent or somebody to handle your buyers, and if you're at the level that I'm talking about, you have better have an assistant. Your assistant or somebody on the administrative side of things should absolutely 100% be your first hire. And I would love for somebody to ask questions or debate that because hiring an administrative assistant is going to allow you to grow your capacity, allow you to do more, always focusing on profitability in your business. And most people want to run out and hire salespeople because, again, it's really, really hard to keep our egos intact, and they want the sales and they want the awards. Well, you've got to ask yourself at the end of the day, what's more important to you? Plaques on the wall or profitability? And so only you can answer that question. So let me see if we got some more questions popping in. What's up, Matt? What's up, Tom T? Mr. Tillier, how you doing, buddy? Ricky, what's up, Ricky? What's up, Jamie? So, Jamie, you're on the team. I think things are going well for you. So let me see here. So, what other questions you guys have? What other questions you guys have about teams? Whether you should be on a team? When is it time to leave a team? Or that actually, does it make sense to stay on that team? If you're on a team, you find yourself on a team, here's the other thing to think about. I'm going to give you a different perspective of staying on that team. The other thing about teams is, and a lot of people get caught up in commission splits. I care about net profit. And so if you're on a team and things are going really well and they're putting you in a position where you can reach your full potential from a sales perspective and you're not having to worry or deal about any of the paperwork or any of the administrative stuff or coming out of pocket with any type of leads, and they're providing all of that stuff for you, and you're on a good commission split, you got to look at, okay, if I were to do all of this on my own, does my net actually go up or does it actually go down? So a lot of these teams that are done right, and again, there's a small percentage. For the most part, I believe that you'd be better off with a small group of people, keeping profitability high, keeping the main thing, keeping focused on production versus ego. But if you looked at being on a team with a great structure and great resources, you might be better off on that team based on profitability, but you got to look at the numbers and see what makes the most sense. All right, so what other questions you guys have? Let me see what else is coming in. All right, hi, Cindy. What's going on, girl? So Cindy, I got to give you some props. Cindy is she is our newest member of our weekly For Sale by Owner coaching call. So Cindy, welcome to the group. So our first what do we got? Our call tomorrow. So tomorrow afternoon, we're going to have one of our FSBO weekly coaching calls. So Cindy, welcome. All right. So Cindy says, I like how you said when you first got into the business, you hired an admin and a buyer's agent. I figured the money you make off the buyer's agent would pay for your admin. Am I wrong? No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. When you get to the point, Cindy, where it makes sense from out of necessity, because you got to look at this in two ways. You hire the administrative assistant first, which allows you to actually sell more houses. That, first off, will not only pay for the assistant, but it will increase your bottom line. Then, and only then, when you have reached a new capacity and you've increased your production, let's just say you're doing 40 deals, you hire an assistant, and now you're doing 80 deals and you're at your full capacity and your assistant's at their full capacity, and something has to happen. At that point, you would actually bring on someone to handle the buyer side of the business, which, yes, absolutely will go directly to your bottom line and help cover the cost of your admin. Great question. Mr. Tom, what's up, man? At what volume should I hire an admin? So I think it's less about volume, and I think it's more about transactions, right? So if you do 10 transactions a year, but they're all $1 million, you don't need an assistant. That's a $10 million a year or $300,000 income. So it's all about transactions. And so I would say it's one of the biggest questions that pops up. I would say when you start to get to a deal a week is probably the time where you're going to have to get some administrative help. So 3 to 4 closings, somewhere in that ballpark, is when you're going to start to want to bring somebody on, maybe part-time as a transaction coordinator. And then eventually when you're getting to 40 and 50 deals, you can bring that person on full-time. Good question. So not about volume, about transactions. What do I think about virtual assistants? So I haven't had much luck with virtual assistants. I don't love it. I would rather hire somebody local who I can have a relationship with. It's better from a training and coaching standpoint, in my opinion. I think it's just better to have someone in your office, or if they're working from home, you can at least have that communication with. Virtual assistants, I just haven't had much luck with them. I would prefer somebody. If it's a cost thing, then I would absolutely hire somebody part-time as a transaction coordinator and pay them per closing. So start off with that if it's for financial reasons, because really that's the only reason you would go with a VA versus somebody in-house is for the financial reasons. Outside of that, I can't think of anything else really why you would want that versus somebody who you have that personal relationship with. Okay, Lisa says, should the assistant be a licensed assistant? So good question, Lisa. If you had the choice, absolutely, because they can help get you out a lot of binds, whether that be a showing or having to help you with some negotiations because you're just so busy. And so my thought is bringing people, if you're going to hire a brand new assistant that has no experience, the goal or the methodology of how you should bring them in with no experience is getting them trained, getting them to do the job that you hired them to do, and then secondarily, after they're actually doing the job, providing you value, then you should go ahead and get them licensed because it's going to further the relationship between you and that administrative assistant. And just know this, you guys, with administrative assistants, you are not going to see a return right away. Actually, you're going to see your production go down. Hold on one second. You're gonna see your production go down at first. Just know that right now. Most real estate agents, when they go and hire their first assistant or their first transaction coordinator, the turnover rate is really, really high, just like I talked about with team members. And the reason why is you have to understand you're going to take, it's like a rubber band. Let me see if I have one around here. It's a rubber band. I don't know if I have one. So your business is going to go backwards until you get that person trained to the point where they start doing what you hired them to do, so that you can let go of that rubber band and it's going to fly and 10x your business. So that's a really, really important thing for you to understand, is that anytime you hire or bring on people into your business, whether that is a transaction coordinator, an admin, or an agent, you have to understand and be completely at peace with the fact that you're going to go backwards first before you reap the benefit. It's really important. Okay, what other questions you guys have? Anything about teams? So much talk about teams out there. Again, I mean, you're gonna build a team out of necessity first. If it's built out of ego, you're gonna waste a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of headache, and there's probably a chance you're gonna ruin some relationships. You bring people into your business and try to start a team too early, and you're not ready for it. It's going to be bad news. Oh, my phone's ringing. I'm going to decline that for a second. So let's turn that off. It's going to be bad news. And I've seen a lot of relationships just broke over bringing, your friends or someone who you think you want to team up with. You bring them and you team up, and the thing falls apart, and it could be a nasty thing. All right, so let's see. What do we got? Lisa, do you recommend daily meetings or weekly meetings? I recommend a daily huddle. I recommend a daily huddle. At the beginning of each day, I think it's really, really important that your assistant or your admin, and you are on the same page at the start of every day, so that you get a chance to walk them through what your day looks like, what their day looks like, what you need them to get done for that day in order for you to call that a successful day. And you're going to walk through all of the active listings, all of the active buyers, all of your pendings, all of your closings. I think it's really, really, really important, Lisa, that you have that open lines of communication on a daily basis. And then on a weekly basis, and here's how the structure should work: daily huddle, weekly team meeting, and I don't care if the team meeting is you and your assistant, and you're going over the week in review. What worked great? What were the challenges? What are we going to do differently next week? And you give your assistant, it's not all about you talking at the assistant. Again, team leader, the word in there is leader. So if you're going to have anybody in your team, you need to become a leader. And so if you're going to be a leader, you have to allow them to voice their feedback so that you can grow together. It can't be a dictatorship. Okay, it can't be a dictatorship. So, okay, I'm sorry. So daily huddle, weekly meeting, recapping the week and what you're going to change and get better. And then on a monthly basis, you can recap the month and probably do some type of, I'll just call it team outing or getting a get together where you guys are grabbing a lunch or you're grabbing a dinner, grabbing a drink, just kind of letting loose and just building relationships, because relationships matter. Why? Because people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so it's got to be the same thing with your clients, and it's got to be the same thing with the people that you're in business with. All right, Jason, what's up, man? What do you think that the marketing of a team could help bring about awareness? So awareness, I think you're talking about getting more business. I mean, maybe you can shed some light on what you mean there, Jason. But I think what you're saying is, hey, if I have a team, the marketing of that team could bring us some more. That's, I think, what you're saying is awareness. Just so I'm not saying you're saying this. I'm saying this with much love and respect. But it sounds you're teetering on that side of ego versus making decisions based on profitability and having things make business sense. A lot of people, and I'm not saying you're saying this, but a lot of people want the team so they can tout, I've got a team, I've got this, I've got that, and it's all ego-based. And so the inside of that team, there's no profit. It's all smoke and mirrors. There's a bunch of frustration behind the window. Not only that, when if you've ever worked with, and if any of you agree with what I'm about to say, give me a thumbs up. Have any of you ever worked with a big team and you did a deal with the actual team leader? How much of a nightmare it was to work with that transaction, because they didn't call you back. They're so crazy busy. They're so swamped. You didn't hear back on your offer. It was impossible to get any communication. You're talking to 5 or 10 different people on their team. And so just be careful that you are making business decisions that make business sense, and that they're just not decisions to make you feel good in the moment. So Jason, I love the questions, man. Keep them rolling. My question is more for someone thinking of joining a team, not someone starting one. Awesome. So thank you for that. So probably from a confidence standpoint, I understand probably as a brand new agent, and then for those of you that are brand new, probably giving you the confidence to tell the people your sphere, hey, I'm part of this team, probably instills some confidence both in your sphere and probably inside of your own mindset. So Jason, if that's what you're referring to, I think that would help you a lot, or help the people that you're referring to. So yeah, absolutely. It makes sense. All right. Well, there's a couple other things in here. What other questions you guys have? Keep shooting them. This is good. This is real good. Okay. What's up, Rob? Welcome aboard, my friend. Okay. Yeah, man, my pleasure. My pleasure. I'm glad you're finding value. It's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. On these Monday Night Lives, I'm going to have a lot of cool guests on here. I think Ricky Carruth, you out there? Give me a thumbs up, Ricky, if you're out there. I think Ricky's going to come on in April. We're going to do a live Q&A together. Greg, Daniel, and I are doing a thing on Tuesday. So we're going to have a lot of fun in this group. You guys just share the word. All right, what other questions you guys have about teams? Anything about teams? What about the people that are out there that are maybe on a team and have questions about certain things? Rob, I feel like I'm nailing the call one and getting the preview appointment. What's the best way to handle things from there? Rob, I think you're talking about for sale by owner. So what Rob's saying is, hey, dude, I'm nailing that first call with the for sale by owner. I'm getting them to agree to let me to come look at the home and preview the property. It's all about building relationships when you get there. It's all about getting that person to actually like you. So not to go off too much on a tangent down the FSBO path, although that's my thing, as you guys know. What I would recommend for you, Rob, and I think if I didn't already, join our weekly FSBO mastermind call. Send me a private message. I'll send you the link. Get signed up. Every week for 90 minutes, I'm coaching and training agents on for sale by owner. So join it. Would love to have you. All right. Teams. Let's see. Anything else from anybody else? Oh, no worries, Rob. Don't worry about it. All good, brother. Appreciate it. All right, so let's talk about this for a second. Let me switch gears. So, I walk you down this path. If you're going to have a team, you need to focus on becoming a leader. The day the decision comes for you to start a team, that decision comes with a ton of responsibility. When you bring somebody into your organization, the responsibility of their success or failure, a lot of you aren't going to like this, their success or failure, the responsibility is with you. That's your mindset. Is it 100% the case? No, it's not. We all know that. A lot of people have to take responsibility for their own actions. But as a leader, a real sign of a leader is somebody who owns it, who says, listen, I'm going to do everything in my power to help this person succeed. If they fail, it won't be because of me. And so that's the responsibility that you have to the people that you serve, and that's the mindset that you need to have. Servant leadership. That's what people respond to. That's the mindset you have. If you have a mindset of taking and it's about me, which most team leaders do, so beware. They want their, it's all about them, ego, I would run for the hills. But if you could be with a servant leader, or you yourself are going to start a team and have a servant leader's mindset, then I would say run for it. All right, Matt, what's up, dude? Perhaps I missed it. How is my business set up? So here's how my business is set up. I have 2 administrative people on my team. I have 1 person that focuses on the database and the marketing aspect of our business, so the relationship side of our business. And I have 1 person on the administrative side that focuses on the transactions that are now in process. And then I have 2 people that handle all of the buyers that come in off my listings. So I focus 100% of my time on listing and selling property, because my commitment to my wife and kids is that I'm home at night and on the weekend. And so the only way you can do that in real estate is what? Not working with buyers. It's just a decision. It's not right or wrong. That's just a business decision that I've made. So that's the business decision that I made. So I've chosen not to work with buyers. And so I've got 2 really good buyers agents, 2 admins, and myself. And that's it. Before, I had a huge team, and it was an absolute nightmare because of what I said earlier about babysitting and people not doing what they said they're going to do. I was all over the place, and so I have a small niche group. Hi, Colleen. Good to see you. It's been a while. Hope you're doing well. Good question, Matt. What other questions you guys have? Let's see. What else you got? What else you got? Hi, Linda. Good to see you on here. Linda Ray, doing some big things. So what about when it's time to actually to join a team, right? I mean, there's a lot of talk out there too about the failure rate being as high as it is in the industry. That failure rate, because left to our own devices, most of the time as human beings, we will fail. And that's why the personal coaching and all of the consultants in the coaching industry, that's why it's growing leaps and bounds, and the personal trainers in the fitness world growing leaps and bounds, because the fact of the matter is, for the most part, most people left on our own will fail. So if you're the type of person who says, you know what, I just need that accountability, before you go and get on a team, why don't you hire a coach? Why don't you hire a coach? Instead of going on a 50-50 split with the team, and this is just something for you to consider, instead of you going on a team with a 50-50 split, maybe it makes sense for you to get a coach. Might be a lot more cost effective. And in fact, you might find better leadership out there in the world than you could joining on someone's team. So that's something for you guys to consider as well. Lisa, I love the questions. How do you track accountability for team members? The daily huddle. So every day, part of that huddle is accountability. Let me give you an example. So Lisa, if you and I were on a team together, that huddle might sound like this. So Lisa, your commitment yesterday was to set 2 appointments and you had 1 appointment scheduled. How did that go? And Lisa, then you would obviously share with the group and the team how that went, what your struggles were, why you didn't do it or why you did do it. And then I would ask you, Lisa, what's your commitment for today? What are you committing to doing for yourself? Not for the team, but for yourself and for your family. What are your commitments? And you would give us 3 or 4 or 5 commitments. And then the group collectively and the leader would help hold you accountable to the things that you say you want. And so that's what it would look like, daily basis. So remember this, Lisa, here's something for you to write down. People respect what you inspect. People respect what you inspect. So if you have a team and you're constantly following up with them, hey, how did this go? How did that go? They know that those things are important and they will start to respect those things, right? But the second you stop asking them or you stop holding them accountable, that all goes down the toilet. So people respect what you inspect. All right, so hopefully that answers that. What's up, Nicole? What's up, Patricia? Cindy, do you recommend a brand new agent for buyer's agent or seasoned agent? So the answer to that question is going to be based on your ability to train and coach. So another major struggle for real estate agents is we're salespeople. A lot of us aren't trainers and coaches. So we have a problem. That problem may be, hey, I want to delegate my buyers. And so I'm a salesperson. It makes sense. I want to delegate those buyers. We hire a buyer's agent. And then we just have this mindset of, well, they should just know what to do. Like, hey, I gave you this buyer, just do it. If that's a mindset you have, you're going to struggle. So if you can't coach, you can't train, if that's not your forte, you don't like doing that, well, then you've got to hire someone with experience. And then on the flip side of those things, if you've got a nice system, you've got nice structure, you've got nice accountability systems, and you find yourself being okay with coaching and training agents, well then, yeah, I would hire based on my 3 things I always talk about. My 80-15-5, 80% attitude, 15% effort, and then 5% skill. So if you're going to hire somebody with no experience, they better have a kick-ass attitude, great mindset, great work ethic, and then I would say give that person a shot. As long as you have that responsibility that I said earlier, owning their success and their failures, and knowing the responsibility that you take hiring them on your team. Good question. All right, what else we got? Let's see. Hi, Emily. I think I owe you a phone call back. So listen, I'm gonna, I don't know what time is it? It's 8:30. So my commitment was to go on here. As long as I got questions coming on, I'll stay on. If there's nothing else, you guys don't want to hear me ramble anymore. So maybe I'll shut it down. What other questions you guys have? What else is going on out there? What else can I help you guys with? I think you guys, again, you know that we're working on our For Sale by Owner 2.0 program, which comes out in the first week of April. But we've got our weekly coaching sessions going on. And so if you guys want to join that, no problem. Let me know. Send me a private message, and I'll send you the link. You can join that. They're Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we can go from there. So listen, if there's no more questions, I'm going to shut down. So every Monday night, we're going to have a topic just like this. I'm going to bring to you some dialogue, and I want these hopefully to be interactive. We can have some good dialogue, some good conversations. And so let me wrap this up with the whole team thing. If you're an agent and you're considering joining a team, I think that I've outlined what it is that you need to look at and what you need to consider. Don't get sold a bag of goods. Make sure you do your due diligence just like you do when you help a buyer buy a home. You almost need to treat it like a 7 to 10 day inspection period. Absolutely, Lisa. You need to treat it like an inspection period. You need to interview that leader, make sure that they're a leader. You need to speak with team members that are either on the team or have been on the team before. You need to understand their structure. You need to understand their systems, coaching, and training platforms. And lastly, you should talk about lead generation. Don't let people sell you on coming on their team because they have and they lead with leads. Hey, I've got all these leads. I'm going to give you all these leads. Well, leads are great, and leads are no longer the problem. Leads are very, very easy to get in real estate. It's not about the leads. So don't get sold on that. So make sure you look at that, right? And then on the flip side, if you're going to be starting a team, make sure you're doing it because it's out of business necessity and it's not serving an ego. Because every time someone starts a team or starts a partnership out of ego, they end pretty badly. They end pretty badly. So I got a couple more questions here. So thank you guys. Jason, thank you very much for always putting forth to help others. Absolutely, brother. My pleasure. I'm honored to do it. I'm honored to do it and to help you guys. Corinne, what's up, girl? Lisa, they appreciate the info. Absolutely. My pleasure. My pleasure. Listen, my mission is to pour into the people in this group. Like I told you guys last week, I'm on a personal mission to help real estate agents become successful. It's an amazing business. It's a great business. We just need to get the right advice because there's a lot of crap out there, and you can have an amazing life for yourself, for your family, for your kids, for your spouse. It's a great opportunity that we've all got. Matt, no worries, brother. I appreciate you. Joe, what's up? So if you guys need anything, let me know this week. We're going to see you. We'll probably see you guys later on this week. And thanks for watching. And we'll talk to you guys real soon.